I don't think there is practice today, but I know that it's a good bet. I know that I'm not cutting this. I know that the depth chart came out, so we're going to react to that. And a lot of you guys have been asking me to give you an update for the salary cap. So I'm going to give you that as well. So without me messing up any more of this intro, let's jump into it. What is up, Fin fans? Happy Thursday to y'all. Again, I thought there was practice today. I heard through the grapevine that there was practice today, but yesterday I saw that they were boarding the plane to Chicago as they have joint practice with the Bears tomorrow. So I don't know if they're practicing today. If they do practice today, you will obviously get a video recapping day 13 of training camp. If not, tomorrow we'll have joint practice and you will get a recap of that. And then Saturday you'll get the preview. And then Sunday, we get to see Miami Dolphin football with our own eyes as the Miami Dolphins take on the Chicago Bears at 1 o'clock. And it is on NFL Network. So what we are talking about in this video today is the unofficial depth chart has been released. And I put unofficial in quotes, and I say unofficial because it's not official. We're going to look at this. We're going to have fun. We're going to judge it, and it's all fun, but it means nothing. Where certain people are placed means nothing. You know when it does mean something? Before the game against the Indianapolis Colts, which I think is that Tuesday before the game. I am friends with a lot of beat writers, and two of them I work with now. Feels good to say that. And Omar Kelly and Alan Poupart say Monday or Tuesday, the beginning of the week before the game, the depth chart is updated or released. So that's when we get that. And again, like I said in the intro, a lot of you guys are like, hey, what, even on TikTok. So again, if you're watching this on TikTok, and I do have a TikTok, first off, follow me. But a lot of people on TikTok as well are like, hey, what is the update on the cap situation? So I will give you that as well. So we're going to jump into this. I'm going to share my screen. Now, this is the Miami Dolphins website. We're going to get to that because I haven't seen the depth chart yet. So we're going to get to that. You go to click on team, you go to depth chart. First, let's look at the cap space. Now, as of over the cap, the Miami Dolphins have round up $8 million in cap space. Bottom tier, because you see the Patriots still have like $59 million in cap space. Like you see these top teams that have money. These are the teams that you probably be looking at to see where Scary Terry's going, Terry McLaurin. He's probably going to one of these teams up here because those are the ones who are going to pay him. Look at Buffalo down here. They're over the cap by $940,000. You got the Giants, you got the Falcons, you got the Broncos, and then again the Dolphins. We're down at the bottom, but again, don't worry about cap space. I've talked about this ad nauseum. I'll even show you real quick. So, Miami Dolphins here. Steelers' contract has not been updated. We don't know what the new contract looks like. We don't know the cap savings and the years and the outs and this and that. We don't know anything. This is his old contract. And again, if you watch the Dolphin Collective, I don't know if we said this on stream or behind the cameras. So again, this is why I tell you the things that, Omar and Alan relay to me. There's something going on with the NFLPA with, people quitting and they have to find a new head and this and that. There's a thing going on. So it's a slow churn process of getting the contracts out because that's who gives the contracts out. So everyone knows is the NFLPA. And that is why it is a slug's pace as to what Steelers' contract is. We just recently got the information for other contracts, and that is why this $11.79 million is the cap space, but we have more than that. Because as you see here, again, and it only counts as the top 51. That's the only people that it counts towards the cap space. So Daniel Brunskill's $1.1 million doesn't count towards the cap space. And, Kendall Sheffield and Storm Duck, all of these contracts don't count towards the team's cap. But we have Jack Jones here. He's making $11 million. I think his contract is essentially a 1 year, $11 million contract. We also have Mike Hilton here. He signed a 1 year, $1.3 million contract. So, we know those two contracts in Mike Hilton, Jack Jones, the two new signings, barely $1.5 million. Again, Daniel Brunskill, another guy we brought in, barely $1.2 million. And then we all know about Minkah Fitzpatrick's contract, which is right here, dropped his cap hit down to $4 million, but gave him a little bit more money on the back end. But again, the Dolphins can still move on. So again, to bring your mind at ease, we'll come over here to the calculator. And as you see here, the Miami Dolphins are at 11.7 million. They have over 27 million next year. There will be cuts, obviously. Like we have 2 punters right now will be cut. Cam Smith will be cut. But just to put your mind at ease, next year, say they cut Tyreek Hill, all of a sudden we're already, one player puts us in the green, $8 million. We move on from one player. Again, we save $36.3 million and we are in the green. We have $8 million in cap space. That's just one player. Again, there's a Tua Tagovailoa situation. Say they trade him before June 1st. Say he gets injured, say the team falls apart, a new GM comes in, a new head coach comes in, whatever. Again, I'm not saying I want this to happen or I'm predicting it. I'm just trying to put your mind at ease. They trade him, boom, the Miami Dolphins have $39 million in cap space, and that's just moving 2 players. Take a breath. Okay. That's all I'm doing this for, is just to tell people you see this negative 27 million and everyone's having a conniption and freaking out. It's because of these cap numbers here. Don't worry about it. We'll worry about that next year. That is your cap space update. Now let's look at the Miami Dolphins official depth chart. And it's not even out yet on here, but don't you worry, your pretty little heads. It is out and I will go grab it for you. While I'm doing that, I'm going to talk to you. So again, we look at this depth chart. Don't really go too far into it and overanalyze it and everything. You know, this is more for fun than anything because a lot can change. So we'll go off of it like that. So here we go. This is the Miami Dolphins depth chart. I'm going to try to make it bigger for you guys. Just guys and girls. I got to stop saying just guys because there's more than just men that watch this channel. And I appreciate everyone that watches this channel. All right. We'll start with the offense. Here we go. Bam! Hooked you guys up. So your wide receivers, starting wide receivers are Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. That should be no surprise to you. Their backups is Malik Washington and Westbrook. Should be no surprise to you. D. Estridge, who was doing fantastic in training camp. We have seen some crazy one-handed catch. Eric Izukama ahead of Taj Washington. That's interesting. Theo Weiss, Henning, Baldwin, Armstrong, and Tyreek Black are your backups. Again, not tomorrow, Saturday, I'm going to tell you who I expect to see and who I don't expect to see. We'll probably look at this depth chart again and kind of go over it and see who I like and yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. Your starting offensive line, Patrick Paul, Jonah, Aaron Brewer, James Daniels, Austin Jackson. None of this should be a surprise. I think I predicted this when we drafted Jonah, and I was like, James Daniels is going to be a right guard because, again, this is the blind side. Your backups, tackle, Larry Borum and Keon Smith. Your backup at interior is Eichenberg, Meyer, and Daniel Brunskill, and then behind that is McKenzie, Carmen, West, Brandon Daniels, Ryan Hayes, and then Matos. I'm surprised Matos is still on the depth chart. Good for him. If Fetty, we just signed him, and Prevey. Then your tight ends are Waller, Julian Hill, Brown, Tanner Connor, Rucci, and Mayrick. Farrell Brown, that is. Darren Waller being number 1. Interesting, even though, again, we haven't seen. And your running back list is Devon Achane, Jalen Wright, Madison, and Gordon II. No surprise there. And then Tua, Zach Wilson, Quinn Ewers. Nothing surprising, really, on the offensive side of it. I think the only surprising thing, is how high Eric Izukama is on the depth chart. I wouldn't expect him to be so high. I would actually probably think that Taj Washington would be higher than him. I would think that Theo Weiss would be higher than him. I'm hearing good things about Theo Weiss. No surprise there. And no surprise at the tight end situation. They love themselves some Julian Hill. Farrell Brown is a very good run blocking tight end. And again, no surprise on the offensive line. So that is your my brain's not working. Defense. Now let's look at the offense. Now let's look at the defense. Technology. Isn't it a great thing for, again, if you listen to the podcast, I'm telling you, but also you can go check out the channel. So your starting defensive line is, wow. That's interesting. Now I'm intrigued. And what is intriguing me for anyone that is watching and listening, because you might be like, say something, it's a 4-3. Unless they are just doing this for poops and giggles, they are showing a 4-3 right here. Very interesting. Huh. Because they got Chop. Your starting defensive line is Chop Robinson, Sealer, Benito Jones, and Bradley Chubb. They have 2 defensive tackles and 2 defensive ends. Interesting. See, now I'm intrigued. Then your backups are Mo Kamara is behind Chop, Kenneth Grant is behind Sealer, and Jordan Phillips is behind Benito Jones, and then you have Grayson Murphy behind Chubb, and then McClendon and Huntley are your backup defensive ends, your third stringers, and Butler and Dickerson are your third string defensive tackles, and then Style and Biggers is your fourth string defensive tackles. That is so interesting. Are they just messing with us, or are they running some type of 4-3 scheme now instead of a 3-4 scheme? Ooh, I'm going to have to ask the guys later today. We will break down the depth chart. Interesting. And then your middle linebackers is Dotson Brooks. And then backups are Britt, Willie Gay Jr., Asante and Tyndall. And then Daquan Jackson is your fourth stringer. And then they have outside linebacker Phillips, Quinnen Bell, and Cameron Good. So again, they have, this is so interesting to me. I might be looking too far into this, and you could say I am, but this is interesting. Very, very interesting. I'm going to have to bookmark this. Interesting. Oh, I'm not about to like skip because my brain is flabbergasted. Your starting corners are Storm Duck and Kendall Sheffield. Your backups are Ethan Bonner and Jack Jones. Then your third stringers are Marshall Jr. and Cam Smith. And then your fourth stringer is only BJ Adams. Then you have your nickel is Mike Hilton. Behind him is Armstrong. Behind him is Isaiah Johnson. And behind him is Robinson. Your starting safeties are Mika Fitzpatrick and Ashton Davis. The backups are Elijah Campbell and Fatu Melifanu. Your third stringers are Dante Trader and Patrick McMorris, who I have high hopes for those guys. And then your fourth stringers are Saunders Jr. and Colbert. Interesting. I think Trader was drafted at corner. I think they're moving him to safety. This is interesting. Again, I expected looking at this depth chart, I would be like, it's nothing. Don't look too far into it. But now it's kind of interesting. Again, it's probably nothing, but it's definitely interesting, and to say the least. And then we will look at special teams. Let's see who they have as the starting punter. I know it doesn't really matter, but now I'm intrigued. Who's the starting punter? They don't have a starting punter. Your kicker is Sanders, obviously, and your punter is and holder. There is no first string or second string. They literally wrote or. It's Jake Bailey or Stonehouse. They don't have a first or second stringer. They have literally or next to it. Funny. Then your long snapper is Cardona. Your kick returner is Malik Washington in both kick and punting. Your kick returner backup is D. Estridge, Alexander Madison, and Jalen Wright. Those are your third and fourth string kick returners. And your punt returner is Malik Washington, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle. Obviously, emergencies. I would expect to see Taj Washington as the backup. Have the Washingtons be the returners. Interesting. Very, very interesting. But that is the depth chart. I'm going to bring up the whole thing right now. That is the depth chart of the Miami Dolphins. Like I said, there's some intriguing aspects to this depth chart. Some very intriguing aspects to it. The defensive formation, I'm not going to look too far into it. Let me get it out of here. It's covering half of my face. I'm not going to look too far into it, but seeing that as a 4-3, and I prefer 4-3 because, you know, I am of the kind that loved watching Jason Taylor, and I like a 4-3 defense better than a 3-4 defense. I think they're just messing with me. Not me specifically, but with us. I think they're still running a 3-4. But to see defensive end and seeing Chop and Chubb, that would be amazing. Don't get me wrong. To see that defensive line with Chop Robinson, Sealer, Benito Jones, and Chubb, and then Kenneth Grant even being thrown in there, and then having your linebackers, and then having Jalen Phillips just roaming around, deciding where they're going to send him, would be dangerous. Absolutely dangerous, especially with Willie Gay Jr. as well, just having him roaming around where they're going to blitz him. That's the thing I'm most intrigued with. But again, I will talk more about this on Saturday when I preview the first preseason game, but you're going to see vanilla stuff in preseason. Like, you're not going to see exotic blitzes. You're not going to see exotic formations. You might see cutesy end arounds or cutesy screens and this, but you're not going to see any of the good stuff. Not till week 1 against Indy, and probably not even till week 3 against Buffalo. But is it week 3 we face Buffalo? But I can't get over it. And I apologize I keep talking about it. Again, comment below. Tell me to zip the lip. Yeah, it was week 3 against Buffalo. 3-4. I mean 4-3. Comment below. Are you as intrigued by that 4-3 looking formation, or am I just being a silly rabbit? Yes, it is Jason Marshall Jr. was drafted as corner, and they have him as safety. Comment below. What's your thoughts on that? What's your thoughts on the cap space? Again, things could change. Dolphins have money. Don't worry about the money situation. And again, next year they make 2 moves, which is, again, things fall off. Not saying it will or I want it to happen, but you trade Tua, you cut Tyreek. Boom, we have like 40 million, 30 million in cap space. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. So comment below. Let me know what you guys think. If you're listening over on the podcast, you can check us out on the YouTube channel. And if you're watching on the YouTube channel, first off, love you. Also, you can go check out the podcast. And also, I do TikTok. So if you're watching on TikTok, hit that flipping follow button. I will see you tomorrow with joint practice with the Chicago Bears, or I'll see you later today because they did practice today, and you'll get another video and probably another episode of this podcast. But other than that, like usual, stay classy. It ends up.